the money that I collected. It's honorable that brought
Destiny of Nigeria.
Contribution to Nigerian peace.
Me, I want all of now look at this.
But there comes a time when
we want to take steps every day to make this country a better place.
And the new Nigeria is that person that
telling them it's time to change.
All right, it's another lovely day, and of course, it's time for the Never Dull Moment program on radio that is talking about Ground Zero. Ground Zero is a program that is designed to bring up topical issues in the polity, and with guests in-house and analysts, we try our best to make those issues and ideas or opinions that looks very, very vague or not quite clear. We try to make them clearer so that everybody can be on the same page. My name is Ehis, Agbon, and on the program Ground Zero today, we will be looking at the 2023 presidential elections, the results, collation, and matters arising. And we'll particularly be looking at these three areas. First, the non-transmission of results, the non-electronic transmission of results. We'll also be looking at the walkout staged by political parties at the collation center, and of course, be x-raying the press statement or briefing from former President Olusegun Obasanjo. And on the program today, we will, of course, be having guests in studio, and of course also linking up with comrade Jude Obasami from the RAISE. That's the organization that's also doing a citizen observation portal over there in South Nigeria, Edo State specifically. I'm also getting to get details from him. All right, but first I'd like to introduce the guests that I have in the studio this evening, starting from Zwahu Yanwaidi. He's a media consultant and also a public affairs analyst. Zwahu, you are welcome to Ground Zero.
Thank you very much, Ehis.
I also have with me in the studio Laurence Obeweh. He's a social activist, media analyst, and good governance advocate at the Convener of Reset Nigeria. Lawrence, you're welcome to Ground Zero.
Good evening, Ehis.
All right, and for those that are interested in being part of the program, like you want to watch the live video stream, you can go to the YouTube and Facebook page of Procyon Radio and Television at Procyon RTV. Procyon RTV. Procyon is spelled Procyon RTV. And at some point, we'll open up the phone lines for you to also call in. And you also want to listen offline, you can go to www.procyonnews.com. www.procyonnews.com. That way you'll be able to get to hear all of us. I am sure Jude Obasami has just joined us now. So Jude, you are also welcome to the program. How are you today? Jude, are you with us? Okay, well, all right, Jude, can you hear us? All right, let's see. We will reconnect back to Jude in a minute. But meanwhile, I would like for us to listen to these sound bites. The first one is from
We kept receiving some reports of skirmishes here and there. The majority, try to railroad every other person, or in fact disenfranchise others, from voting. Perhaps for whatever reason, of course, obviously because they want to shore up their position in order to be able to win the elections. But on a general note, I think the elections, the conduct on the 25th, of course, we are used to situations where you have late arrivals of no, not results.
Materials.
Election materials, personnel and material and stuff like that. And from my general observation, I think the Beavers machines worked very well. Generally, I think they worked very well. What we began to hear afterwards is another story entirely. The Beavers machines worked very well generally. Like, of course, there will be skirmishes or there will be exceptions or isolated cases here or there. Even in Lagos, that a lot of people, said what they said. I mean, we saw lots of, because there were some people that were already, towards this election, they were already hyped up. Agitated. They were hyped up, agitated, and so the slightest thing, they already took it onto the media space, especially social media space. Okay, but talking to people on the ground, okay, even in Lagos, I got the impression that I think a lot of people were crying in some cases. They were crying wolf where there was none. Okay, because we expected some kinds of things to happen around Lagos, and indeed some of them did happen. But then again, it was not as bad as it was made to look. If you were following social media alone and you didn't have people on the ground, over in those places or at those places to check with them, you would think that everybody was stampeded from the elections and stuff like that. But then again, we saw the results from Lagos. And we saw that indeed it's not as bad as, initial reports, especially during the elections on the 25th. Yeah. So I think the conduct itself on that day, people going out to cast their votes and to do, I think it was generally, by and large, good. But then, the morning after.
Comrade, citizen. Yes, citizen Obeweh.
Okay, unfortunately, I have a slightly different opinion from Zwahu. Of course, largely I've always been involved in election. I think that in terms of logistics, INEC didn't do well. The polls opened late across the country, including Convener states, different times. Then in terms of making adequate preparations, I don't think they did much. Because on election, they were running around looking for ink for INEC. I know how many hotels we went to, business centers, areas we went to open shop to give INEC ink, and something as small as ink. Then I was wondering who was managing the logistics, because in an election such as that, you expect that people will have a checklist of what you want, you are taking to the election. Then when you talk about voter suppression, of course, from different parts of the country you were hearing. But I know in Kaduna, I noticed a trend as well, especially in southern Kaduna where I monitored. The electoral officials, the polling unit officials kept telling people that they were going to shut down by 4. So I made it a point of duty to go from polling unit to polling unit to announce to the people that even though people joining the queue will stop at 2:30, but no electoral official is allowed to close voting until the last person had voted. Yeah. So you could see that trend that they had different strategies of voter suppression in different areas. If you look at largely what happened in Port Harcourt is different. You see 1,000 people, 200 people vote. Those will come and chase everybody away and say elections are over. You see the strategies in Lagos. And for an election that took Nigeria 4 years to prepare, almost 4-year budget as well, 4 budget cycles to prepare, and election that INEC announced to the world that they had gotten everything they needed in terms of logistics fund and everything from the government. I was expecting that nothing would be left undone, but largely I think it was really elementary school preparation. If you look at what has happened, that's on one side. Then the positive was that you saw enthusiasm from a lot of Nigerians who felt that owing to everything that came from INEC, that INEC had improved the system. So they were very enthusiastic. I think in the run-up of to the election, you saw people paying 1.2 million return tickets coming from abroad to come and vote to cast one vote. And you saw a lot of them coming like that. Now, that was positive.
Yeah.
And it showed that people were beginning to gain confidence in the Nigerian project. If you juxtapose that with what is happening now, you discover that it's as if somebody is using machetes to butcher Nigerian souls. Now, what is the difference between the former elections and the one we are looking forward to? It was the introduction of technology. Yeah. And because it was tested in Anambra, tested in Ekiti, tested in Osun, as at 10 p.m., I think we had almost 97% of the results uploaded on the IREL. And people gained confidence that, okay, with this technology, it had become very difficult to rig the Nigerian election. But we're almost seeing the opposite here. And it's staggering because INEC is almost very arrogant in their mismanagement of the election. I watch with disappointment when, is it the Director of Information and Voters Education, our own barrister, Obeweh, on national TV, denying that they never promised Nigerians that we were going to view the IREL portal live. So I want politicians to play their politics, but I think that the institution itself should conduct itself in manners that give Nigerians confidence. Because politicians will always
look for ways
their strategy of maneuvering each other. So they will always shout. But you expected the institution involved to be able to be very transparent, because he that comes to equity must come with clean hands. But I saw an umpire who was sounding as if he was under duress. Because I don't understand the fact that you had electoral guidelines. Nigerians suffered, blackmailed the president into signing the Electoral Act.
Yeah.
Just because we wanted the election of Nigeria to gain confidence. And I don't think that there is any other person that put what has happened over the last 5 days in Nigeria better than the European Union in their press statement. They say it was even lower than the Nigerian standard.
Wow.
So when something is lower from the known Nigerian standard, so I don't think that anybody could have put it better. So that's a summary of what we had. I am very afraid of what's going to happen. Fortunately, I think things are beginning to emerge with none of the candidates except the Labour Party gaining 25%. With none of the leading candidates gaining 25% in the FCT. I think it's already running into a hitch. So we might be able to see light at the end of the tunnel. But apart from that, I think we're already heading to the worst part of Nigeria's history.
I think that 25%, including the FCT, it's been subject to, they are claiming that what they mean is 37 states. They didn't do how to say 37 states. That was why they said
no. Again,
whether you get 25 in the FCT or not.
I understand that. No, again, it's never been an issue in Nigeria.
Yeah.
But it is an issue now. So it's a matter of interpretation from, of course, lawyers will argue, just like the politicians.
Well, we may as well conclude that you should get 25% in all the 25 states.
In 25 states.
Okay. That is including the...
So they didn't say that. They said 24 states and the
FCT.
So it means that. So
is it and or including?
It said plus. It said plus. It said plus the FCT. Yes. It's not including. It's plus the FCT.
So one has to get
the FCT. So that's it.
So I have never perceived it. I've never seen it as that.
We have not really paid attention to it because it's never been an issue. But it's now becoming an issue, and I think it's the easiest way out of this quagmire. I think there will be a
anybody that gets the FCT.
So it means because the only way to solve the problem we have now is to go for a rerun.
All right.
So a rerun based upon what?
Upon missing that threshold.
Let me quickly get the angle of Jude Obasanjo. Jude, are you with us now? Hello, Jude. The network is... Okay, we can hear you now. Let's quickly give us an overview of the election from your own end. Technology. Probably that's what happened to the beavers.
Now, talking about the beavers. I mean, like I said, on a general note, especially I do also take into cognizance all of the issues, and for me, I never expected too much. Okay, I never expected too much because I knew that a lot of things could have happened, but I thought that ultimately the elections began and they continued, and some places actually well into the night, some places, onto the following morning. Yeah. For me, the important thing would be that people who were eligible to vote and who presented themselves out there to vote ultimately got to vote. For me, that was the thing. But
by majority of the places, there are things that for me, I know that in Etiosa, for instance, in Etiosa in Lagos, Banky W, a known musical artist in Nigeria, came out with a whole lot of people to say, we have not voted.
We're talking
across the country. If you go to Port Harcourt, you have incidents. Even in Kaduna here, there are places where people could not vote.
But I said on a general note. I mean, it's on a general note. I mean, we don't expect. And I'm not discountenancing these realities. Yeah, okay. I mean, these are not realities that are desirable. Yeah. But then on a general note, that is the point I make, and I very, very much agree with everything that you have raised as to the flaws of the thing. But like I said, for me, the morning after. That is where the problem is.
Politicians love night. Yeah. And that's why if you want to defeat them, you deny them night. If you give them 3 hours of night, they are comfortable. And that's why if you look at Anambra, look at Ekiti, look at Osun, they were denied night. From 3, 4, 5, the results were being uploaded. By the time they could, and if you look at this was very significant. The same portal. You could upload that of the House of Representatives. You could upload that of the Senate.
But that of the President.
You couldn't. I called that day when people were struggling with I called an IT guy. He said this thing could be resolved in less than 5 minutes. Immediately he looked at it, he said no, that somebody is somewhere.
Yes.
Locking this one.
Yes.
It's a known fact. So there is no question that there is compromise in this. There is no question.
There is.
Now you could even argue because again. Any of these political parties could be the one compromising it. It's not necessarily the one that's been pointed at. So, but the issue is that the conduct of the umpire is now what is now raising suspicion as to the direction of who these people are. For instance, you have the Electoral Act. It is clear. He said before. Now, I listened to Professor Mahmoud. And sometimes he's a professor, so I respect him, so I'm not going to denigrate him. But there are certain things that people talk and you begin to wonder. Now, if you look at that Electoral Act, when he was talking about before a declaration is made, that the collation officers must determine, he didn't specify whether it was at the ward level, local government level, state level, or federal. He said before any collation officer would declare that you make sure you satisfy this. You make sure that what you have corresponds with the numbers in the Vivas. Correspond with what is uploaded in the IRED.
Yeah, but it is very easy to understand that even his statement is at the polling unit level.
No. If it was at the polling unit level, what they are talking about, they say the information from the polling unit must correspond with what the person who's announcing.
Ultimately.
So it doesn't matter whether it's at the because unit. Elections are done at the polling units. What we are discussing is not what happened at the ward, local government or state. It's what the Nigerian people did at the polling unit. So the responsibility is on any collation officer that is announcing to make sure that whatever that you are announcing corresponds with that on the IRA. And I don't think it was too much to ask. They made this Electoral Act. I didn't. The civil society only entered to make sure that it was threatened, that nothing was conflicting. So if you have laws that you have made, and I know that the president, even in signing that Electoral Act, was in difficulty. In fact, at the end, he was trying to get some concession, which he couldn't get. Because he was running out of time. The ECOWAS this said you couldn't sign an Electoral Act 365 days before the election. And he was already on the eve of the 365 days, so he had to. So it was like he was blackmailed into sign. And it was important because Nigerians felt that with this a new electoral act and the introduction, and it was to back the introduction of technology. We know what happened in 2011, we know what happened in 2015. So when you have suffered, Nigerians have suffered, people, if you look at the enthusiasm in the run-up to this election, money didn't play a role.
No, it did not.
You understand? No, again,
with the electorate.
Not that the money on the table.
On the table,
yes. Maybe on that table.
Elections are expensive in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We know that, but that normal buying of people's consciences didn't play much role. So, and you could see from the results that I'm emanating that it didn't play a role.
It didn't quite play.
It didn't quite. Yes, I can take that.
Yeah.
Now, finishing the job. Nigeria's problem has never been going to the polls. It has never been people voting.
Yeah.
It has always been about collation. And that's why the introduction of technology was supposed to clean up that aspect of our electoral process. Unfortunately,
I still believe that with a good auditing of the process, it's only that it is going to take us a while.
Yeah.
Okay? But with a good auditing of everything that must have happened, we can still get.
Again, is the legitimacy.
Let's see if we can still get Comrade Jude to add his voice to this conversation. Comrade Jude, are you with us now? Hello, Comrade? Oh, dear.
All right.
Again, it's about the legitimacy because as it is today, of course, I think a political party is already jubilating that it has won this election. So how do you go for auditing? And again, I've looked at people who say continue with the collation. If you agree, go to court. And I don't think that. I don't think it's again. We have precedents. Now in 2007. The president-elect, on the day he took oath of office, said himself that this election was flawed. And somebody challenged that election. What came out from the Supreme Court? The one that the beneficiary confessed to. So there is no precedent that our courts are ready.
No, we should be careful. We should be careful. The moment, the fact that the winner of the election, on the day he took office, the fact that he said that the election that brought him was flawed did not mean that he meant simply that the election that he was not really duly brought.
Okay.
That he didn't win.
He didn't win.
Okay. Yeah. It just simply meant that look, the election
could have been done better.
Yeah, it could have been done better.
So there was no explanation. And that's what I love about Nigeria.
No.
Like if you read, I'm a Christian. If you read Bible to an average Christian, he tries to explain it according to the way he suits him. I don't want to go in. I like to quote people.
No.
So everybody thinks
no. Let's be careful because I've heard a lot of people make reference.
No. What I'm saying.
And by the way, we are talking about President. Of PDP. And I was very, very up until that time, and even much after that time, I had never voted PDP in this country. I had never voted PDP. But let's be careful. The fact that he said the election that brought him was flawed did not mean that he did not win.
Okay, I am not a lawyer, so I'm not going to go into those technicalities.
No. It didn't mean that he did not win.
I don't know what he meant.
It generally meant that he was sensitive to the perceptions of people out there. There were people that were not happy, and he said, I will undertake. And he did undertake
an electoral
reform process, which but I do, sometimes people just make reference to that No,
the reference is to the fact that our judiciary have really not played a positive role in checkmating elections.
No. It is possible for people to have taken the election, that particular election, the flawed election as it was at that time, to court, and they could not prove so well enough that Yar'Adua was not elected by the people. You understand?
Okay, I leave that again. I leave that and give you another instance. Again, it's about interrogating our systems. Now look at Yobe.
Oh,
look at Yobe. There was a primary. And again, the Electoral Act is clear. You cannot contest in more than one primary.
Oh, yes.
But look at the decision that came from Yobe. Look at the one that came from Akwa Ibom.
Yeah.
Today, Akpabio is a senator-elect. But did he flout the Electoral Act? Yes.
He did.
Look at Umahi. So our judiciary, the essence
Indeed,
of all this is
I
not,
agree with you.
Our judiciary has not shown that anybody should take anything to them and expect a positive result.
Your perception.
No, it depends on.
perception.
It depends on
It's my perception, it's my
who. It depends on what is positive to whom.
No,
sorry,
again.
and I don't intend to be semantic.
yeah,
okay, I don't intend to be semantic. And indeed, the ruling on Lawan, Machina, Akpabio, and whatever. The moment those rulings came out, I said I'm afraid for the 2023 election.
Again, don't forget that there was also another ruling in Imo State in 2020.
Yes.
In 2020. Again.
No, that's very true.
So again, let's leave it at that. The point is, I'm an Igbo man. In the Igbo land, if I steal your plantain, a bunch of plantain, what I do is take one of them and feed your child. So if you place a curse on that bunch of plantain, your child dies first. So that automatically stops me from placing a curse. And I think that's the Nigerian system. Again, people want us to believe that you can find one Nigerian that you give a responsibility, or you can find a bunch of Nigerians that you can give responsibilities, and they will do it as if they are angels. Every institution reflects the citizens.
Yeah.
And I think that what we are seeing in the judiciary is the same thing we see in our educational management, in our management of our health sector, in infrastructure, in service delivery,
Even in
almost every sphere of our life. So I think that
people are selling 1,000 naira for 200 or 300 naira.
Extra.
1,000 for
1,000 naira
for 1,300 naira.
1,300 or 1,200.
Well, I have seen where 10,000 is sold for 6,000.
Yes.
They give you they withdraw 10,000 and give you 4,000. You understand? So it's a system of values, characters, and behavior. Unfortunately, our nation is the last place our nation pay attention to.
Yeah.
You understand? Because if you look at our value system, if you're a criminal in our society but you have so much money, our educational systems confer on you honorary doctorate. Our religious organization give you Knight of Kena Kena. And our traditional title gives you Agune Chamber.
Okay, let's come back to what we've been discussing now. From your submission, was the walkout justifiable?
Again, I looked at Dino. I think he was making a case, but I don't think he was making it appropriately.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I think the same thing Dino said. Somebody else made that point, and Mahmoud said, okay. And if you notice, again, I don't think he's been. When they were arguing of overvoting, I didn't watch the presentation of Ekiti.
Hello, Jude. Okay, the network seems to be better now. So sorry, the network has not really allowed us to talk. But if like in 2 minutes,
yes, go.
Dear.
So
in 2 minutes, can you just quickly let's have an overview from your end in 2 minutes.
I didn't watch the.
Hello, Jude.
So I didn't watch the collation of Ekiti results because it was done a night before. I only heard about the argument, but I know on the day they were arguing about Ekiti, somebody raised up the issue of overvoting inquiry. That morning. They took a break. Then the chairman promised that he will address the problem. Unfortunately, when he came, because the guy said the guy asked for time to make a calculation. Yeah. In fact, he even accused INEC chairman of giving him 30 minutes. The man said no. He said 10 minutes. Then Professor Mahmoud asked him, "Did I give you any time?" Then he said, "But he has finished calculation," and he raised the issue of overvoting inquiry. Unfortunately. And again, I don't know why agents miss this. When he was addressing Ekiti and other issues, he missed that para. I'm not sure whether anybody has raised that issue of corruption now. Now, but more importantly on the political parties, I think they behaved childishly. Election is for criminals in Nigeria. No, it's true. No.
How do you mean?
What I'm saying, it is not a religious matter.
Okay, that's better, but don't label it.
It's a fight among people who want to outwit themselves. in the struggle. And
there is no
value. There is no value
Okay.
in electioneering. So you don't expect that people don't plot their strategy. You understand? But you would expect, especially for the PDP, the Labour Party, and the NNPP, you would have expected that by the time they were there, they had already tabulated their polling unit results at the world coalition level, at the local government and at the state. It would have been easy to use data to confront the national coalition officer.
Yeah.
But you could see that they were speaking without data. And the man kept preferring, if you have anything, bring it. Although I have spoken to some of them and they say they all have their data, they felt that it wasn't the right time to present it because they felt that things are still being done. So, but left to me, I would have preferred that you confront them with data. Because ultimately, if you had brought two data contradicting what has been announced and it is confirmed, this coalition would have been hotter since. But they didn't do that.
Okay.
That's one. Then, if you see when the list of agents were released, you discover that the Labour Party had less agents than the number of polling units in Nigeria, which means they didn't cover everywhere.
Yeah.
So forget about what they are fighting.
No.
They have been childish even in their own electoral management.
Okay, we'll open up the phone line soon, but we didn't have the opportunity of. You didn't have the opportunity of answering me. Dino Melayo's walkout, was it justifiable and was it right?
Well, it depends on who is talking generally, okay? But if it is just simply if it is just simply to state the dissatisfaction, okay, with the state of things, okay, to register dissatisfaction with the state of things, yes, because pretty much every Nigerian is not happy, is not satisfied with the way things have gone. I mean, they say they were going to use the beavers, and then the beavers is now being jettisoned by the same INEC, and then talking about electronic transmission of results. All of that is being, jettisoned by the same INEC. Okay, in an election that all of these things have been codified into law. So if they have been codified into law, what right has INEC to jettison them? So jettisoning them just simply tells Nigerians that INEC is not interested in officiating by the rule.
Okay.
Therefore, that walkout was very, very apt and timely.
Okay, for
Obasanjo, no.
Okay.
Obasanjo's statement.
Obasanjo is a statesman, and he's always been known to be a letter writer. So I'm not sure that it surprised anybody that he's writing once again.
Was there substance in the letter he wrote?
Of course, you can't sit here and say there was none. Again, I refer you again to the press conference by the European Union and that of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth was a little modest with the assessment. But former President Agbon said something as a closing remark. He said that they are still around in case of the issues that were emanated from the election. It means they already saw something. If you look at, I think former head of state, General Badamasi Babangida, also tweeted yesterday. He's also in the same line. If you see the submission by the National Peace Commission, signed by the former head of state, Salami Abubakar, it's still the same thing. So I don't know why people are focusing on Obasanjo.
Okay.
This is a general feeling of everybody that participated. And I
the truth.
I refer you to the European Union press conference. He said it's even below Nigerian standard. Not the international standard.
It's taking low to another low.
You understand? So I don't know why people are pointing at Obasanjo. Again, he cannot keep quiet.
Let's open up the phone lines now because we have barely 15 minutes for callers to call in and we'll get their angle. Hello, good evening and welcome to Ground Zero.
It's a very good evening to you.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I welcome you again. Good evening.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Kure.
Yeah. Thank you. You see, that river, I write that river off because my reason is very simple. Why didn't they use that card, smart card? That one, immediately I saw it, I know something allegedly will happen, and that's what is playing out. That's why if you see the way Dino is relating to the chairman, you know that something has gone wrong somewhere. Me, I didn't trust that river any longer. Let me tell you this. Immediately I reached there after 6 hours of staying there. Before the river peaked on me, people were even surprised. Around 6 something. These are people that started voting around to 1, and they are telling us they will close by 2:30, of which is not possible. Before they close in my polling unit, it's after 2:89.
Wow.
So me, I know we'll get it right. They shouldn't worry.
Okay.
But Mahmoud, let him write his name in a very good book of Nigerian record.
Okay.
I think it was dividend of democracy. Otherwise, I don't think he will get it right with Nigeria. Nigeria are not minded. Honestly, have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Kure. Hello, good evening, welcome to Ground Zero. We just missed that. 0809-4646-206 is the number to dial. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero.
Hello, good evening, Ehis, and all the guests at the studio.
Good evening.
My name is Convener of President.
All right, welcome to the program.
Your page exam.
Yes, sir. But what I want to point out and ask that this issue of not transmitting the results, what actually happened, because when we were voting in the ward, I see all the polling agents, in fact, after voting, they calculated everything before the man took it into the local government headquarters. And from local government headquarters, at least, they must have also done the same thing. The difference is between if the incident was voted, can the polling agent be able to find out and guess what actually is happening? Because all we want is that as my country is on, even almost winning, all we want is that let the issue be resolved.
Okay.
Because why many of us are saying that Obasanjo holds a big super is because we want to speak carefully, so I don't want this election to be delayed. So what I want to find out that what happened between polling agents at the ward, because this is the center of a ward, and I was there when they started the vote. In fact, none of us know who among the party won in that vote.
Okay.
The people, was there no paper, the time paper, they give one copy. So what actually happened between the ward, local government, and then the state? Before I go to the next time.
Thank you so very much, comrade. Hello, good evening, welcome to Ground Zero. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening, you're welcome to the program. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Good evening to your guests.
Good evening.
We are all trying to Kinapa.
All right, hi, Kinapa.
You see, it is about what is happening in Abuja, about the beavers, about the Walkout state, and about the President Olusegun Obasanjo, former president of Transit. You see, whatever that is happening, I hope you are with me. Are you listening?
Yes.
We are listening.
So you see what is happening is for good. We want for free and credible election. If today the ruling party is ruling in many states, as how do I put it? As expected, you will say that there is a flaw or there is a scheme. But if you have to see, the ruling party is defeated in many states. Many of the states they were defeated. Even the stronghold of the candidate, Lagos State, he was defeated. Where the president come from, he was defeated. And so many other states, they were defeated. Yes, APC is not complaining. The complaint is coming from opposition that the island has compromised. How can you say that island should do this, should do? How can you give instruction to island? You cannot give instruction to island. But the state of outlet that did not realize, it is unfortunate. It created itself, it relegated itself so low to a sentiment. He couldn't control his anger.
Okay.
It's very selfish and unfortunate.
All right.
And about the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo comment, it is unfortunate. Such comment is not supposed to come out from Obasanjo. I have seen that people have started condemning his comment. And Nigeria will speak, and all Nigeria should be patient to the outcome of the election. Thank you, and I'm blessed with your guests for the opportunity.
All right, thank you so very much. 009-464-6206 is the number to dial to be part of the program. We'll take one or two more calls before we wrap it up this evening. While we are waiting for the calls to come in, we'll quickly look at our social media handles to see if we have comments coming in from that side. Okay. And the social media handles where you can drop your comments and reactions is Procyon RTV. Procyon RTV. That's Procyon RTV. That's the handle where you can drop your comments. And if you are following us on YouTube, you can also go to Procyon RTV. It's spelled Procyon RTV. In the absence of getting more calls, let us come back to the studios and Zwahu,
yes,
react to the contributions
from the last commenter. I don't think anybody was telling the INEC chairman to do anything outside what he was expected to do. I mean, this election is guided by a certain law, and we are saying that that law or those laws should be adhered to. And where we see that these laws are not being adhered to, it is incumbent on Nigerians, every well-meaning Nigerian, to be able to stand up and say, no, go by the laid down procedure. That's a simple thing.
So let's see if we can quickly take this from Jude Obasami, because he's been hanging on, and it would be nice to really get his angle to all of this. Comrade Jude, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. How do you give us experience? Was connected before the program. I had a perception. When the program just started, people came in now.
All right, so we are already wrapping.